By far the most requested person for me to make a video about throughout the years, and this is going back years ago, has been Keemstar. I've deliberately avoided making videos about him because I know how he lives. I don't know how he lives personally. I mean, I know how he lives on this website. I know how he survives, he thrives, how he is a success on this website. Now, there's a lot of bad things you can say about this guy. And trust me, I have a lot of bad things to say about this guy. But the guy is a stone cold success here. He has sustained a longevity of making FU money on this website for years. I'd argue he is one of the most absolute successful guys on this website. Now, there's been plenty of people that have made more money, success, following, fandom, spun off to other projects because of YouTube. There's people that have done a lot more than him. But in the face of the amount of adversity one has faced and still come out to lick his wounds and get millions upon millions of views for damn near every video he makes, yeah, I'd say Keemstar is probably one of the most successful people on this entire platform called YouTube. But he's a douchebag, let's be real. Let's not mince words here. And the whole reason why I called this video Keemstar is Indestructible is that no matter what he does, he'll be fine. I mean, don't get me wrong, he could always have a video unearthed of him like, smashing a dog's head in with a hammer or something like that. Like, okay, he's not completely indestructible or invincible, but from what he's done and what he continues to do to what people to expose him for, he ain't going anywhere. And I realized that pretty early on with him. And that's kind of why I never made a video about him, because all making videos like this, or like what Grade A Under A made, or like what H3H3 Productions made yesterday and before, or what iDubbbz made with Content Cop, or what Leafy is Here made, people that I don't even have a percentage of exposure comparative to. People that have made videos that have made tens of millions of video views of people agreeing that this guy is such a douchebag. Thank you for making this video, etc., etc. Keemstar still comes out making more than enough money and views, gets sponsorships, etc., and is doing just fine. Seeing people expose him the way they did, like I said, like a Grady Under A, like a Leafy Is Here, like an iDubbbz, making just, okay, some more than others, a more flawless decapitation of him attempt. Oops, sorry. iDubbbz video on him, his content cop on him. When iDubbbz makes a content cop on you, it's pretty much showing you that your days are numbered here, or you're going to take a significant hit. When iDubbbz made the content cop on him, it was just like, oh, we're just going to go to his channel, call him names, call him all this stuff, and point out and laugh at him for every mistake he made. Okay, that was years ago. He's doing fine still. When everyone else made a video about Keemstar, he's doing fine still. So you maybe ask yourself, well, why are you finally making a video here about him? Because yesterday, Ethan Klein of H3H3, and I say Ethan Klein of H3H3 because I seriously doubt Gila was like, yeah, this is a good idea, Ethan, go with this. This was an Ethan grudge project. I highly doubt Gila went along with this, so I hate saying it's an H3H3 video. It's an Ethan Klein video. Made a, was it 45, 46-minute video? I saw it in my inbox. I've been a long-time viewer of H3H3. I love how they were this channel that exposed people that put like the fake kissing prank videos and stuff like that and exposed fraud channels like that back in the day. Now they're pretty much just like a podcast channel now. They veered off into doing things on their podcast channel, I should say. I love the work they did over at H3H3. It did a much better job than I ever could have exposing channels the likes of which they have exposed. Especially when I gave up doing that shit years ago. Anyway, Ethan made a 45-minute video yesterday that I left watching and saying to myself, what was the point of that? What was the point of that? All that is going to do is drive traffic over to Keemstar, have people go, oh, blah, 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 blah. I can't believe you made Etika kill himself, blah, blah, blah. I can't believe you accused some guy of being a pedophile and he wasn't, blah, blah, blah. Like, nothing that we haven't heard before. Nothing that, let's be real, if you're a subscriber of Keemstar and you watch his content, I mean, did you doubt any of this douchiness from him in the past? Like, do you not understand what a douchebag he is? And does Keemstar care if his audience thinks he's a douchebag? And I see the lengths and the depth of content that, and I watched that whole 45-minute video yesterday. Thank you, coronavirus, for giving me the spare time to sit down and watch a 45-minute video about some douchebag on the internet. But to watch the level of grudge that Ethan Klein put into that video, I'm just like, wow, what did this guy really do? Like, this is what the top tier people focus their efforts on. I mean, you would think that the grudge was to the point that, like, you know, Keemstar raped his sister or something. It's like, no, he makes fun of people that have, like, depression and calls it a joke. Like, you know, I don't find stuff like that forgivable, that Keemstar does things like that and says people like Ethan Klein that are suffering from depression and anxiety, but are rich and wealthy, and they should just be like, you know, just grow up, laugh it off. Like, Keemstar will be just saying things like that, and I'm just like, wow, you don't understand the mental health of people, and you're just going to joke it off. I get all that, and I hate Keemstar for things like that, but I dedicate making a 45-minute video explaining every single nuance of error, almost every nuance of error that Keemstar has ever made. Why did you make that video yesterday, Ethan Klein? Like, what was the grand end game from making that video yesterday? And that's why I avoided making videos a number of years here about Keemstar, because trust me, there's plenty of things to quote-unquote cash in on. And to just delve off a point for a second here, the whole cashing in on the Etika thing, like Ethan kept bringing up that point, the Etika suicide, and how, you know, Keemstar seemed to be, like, you know, digging the knife in deeper and deeper, and just making content because the content was being watched, watching this guy have basically, Etika have a mental breakdown in front of us to the point that he committed suicide. I don't understand really what Ethan was doing, because he dedicated, I'd say damn near 20 minutes of that video just reliving the whole Etika situation. Like, this is a done issue. It's over. And why did we have to relive that whole thing over again? You could have made a mention of it, yes, and that is a key piece to the Keemstar debacle, the douchebag that he is. Like, I get you have to mention it, but going through step by step by step of Etika's fall from grace to breakdown to ultimate killing of himself with so much detail in around 20 minutes of the video, and you're going to talk about how Keemstar cashed in on Etika, and you're going to make that be the colossal one overlapping point to bring up in your entire 45-minute video. Like, that was like the one major thing that you covered. And you're making money on that video, and you're going to criticize him? You're going to criticize Keemstar for trying to swat people? Now, you can be like, well, Archfiend, do you think Ethan Klein tried to get people to swat Keemstar? Like, no, I don't. But I think there is an indirect reference that it would be nice to get a taste of his own medicine. Now, while Ethan doesn't exactly say people should swat Keemstar, there is subtle things where you bring up the point that this guy swats so many times that eventually you're going to reach someone that says, this son of a bitch keeps swatting people, I'm going to swat him. You bring up, Ethan, that, and I'm sorry to make this look like the anti-Ethan Klein video, but that's basically what it was going to end up being, because I want this to be an example of people who go against Keemstar and understand how you're not going to hurt him. So just want to make a few more points here about Ethan before I go back to, why making videos about Keemstar are relatively pointless and why I'm making a video about him. Anyway, Ethan Klein also brought up the whole, G Fuel. Does G Fuel know that they sponsor a guy who's accused a guy of being a pedophile and he actually wasn't? Does G Fuel know this or that about Keemstar? That's kind of just like a subtle way of saying, it would stink if G Fuel dropped him as a sponsorship, but if someone out there was to just contact G Fuel, could you do that? Let them know what's up with this guy. That's a subtle way of getting people to get on the box and spout off about him and try to make him lose sponsorships, or just contact anyone. People be like, you know what? Why is G Fuel sponsoring him? I'm going to contact them about that. I'm going to contact anyone that sponsors him about it. So yeah, you're kind of doing what Keemstar is doing, kind of sort of not. I get what Keemstar does with swatting is a lot worse than, contacting G Fuel or doing something like that to one of his sponsors to get him, dropped as a client. But it's like two major things in that video that Ethan Klein, accused him of: profiting off of Etika and getting people in his toxic fan base to swat other people, in Keemstar's toxic fan base to swat other people, when fully well you making that video yesterday is going to increase the chances of Keemstar getting swatted himself, and him, Ethan, making money off of a video that had a big chunk of it dedicated to talking about Etika. So what the hell? Oh. So why am I making a video about this? I'm making a video about this just to basically say, like, leave Keemstar alone kind of type thing. Because this is the thing. I understand how he lives and thrives here. And what will kill him is ignoring him. Ignore the fact that his fan base want to eat his shit up. Because I see when he posts videos and when he posts stuff on Twitter, I don't watch all his content. I'm not that masochistic. But when you see him post something on Twitter, it's people clowning him, like in the replies. Like, his fan base is made up such a large collective of people that want to clown him, make fun of him, point out his flaws constantly. And that's why I'm just like, well, his fan base is far from a loyal group of people. Yes, there is a sector of them that are very loyal, that are very dedicated, very following for years on end, etc., etc., etc. But let's be real. A lot of people are there to watch the clown show, as Ethan would say. Watch Clownstar. They're there to watch the guy that is a traveling freak show, to watch all the performers that he throws out there, all the words he says, etc. So, yeah, why am I making this video? Because I'm here to tell you that you ain't going to beat Keemstar. You ain't going to beat Keemstar. Again, anything short of a video of him smashing a puppy dog's head in with a hammer, you're not going to beat Keemstar. And going back to the whole audience thing, Ethan Klein is always just so like, look at this guy, look at his flaws. He sounds like one of these people that, critique like a country like Colombia for making so many drugs and sending them to America when, you should also be blaming the consumers of it. If you hate drugs that much, why don't you ever speak out about the people that consume the drug? Why don't you speak out against the people that consume Keemstar? Why don't you call them pathetic and douchebags as well? Like, you never really hear that from guys like, from Ethan Klein. Because they're the ones that make Keemstar be who he is. If he didn't have an audience, if he wasn't making FU money worth of video views on the internet, he wouldn't exist. He wouldn't exist to what we know him as. He would be doing something else. And that's the thing, like, you never hear criticisms of, like, let's have some criticism for how toxic his fan base is and the actions they do. You never hear that. Why? Anyway, I don't care. Like, that's the thing. Like, okay, well, why aren't you going to call his fan base for as toxic as they are? Because honestly, I don't care. I don't care. They can do whatever he wants. He can make a video about whatever he wants. Oh, God, sorry, I went through puberty there. Keemstar can drop as many N-bombs as he wants. It won't affect my life. The stuff he does about, talking about against depression and saying it's a joke, it won't affect my life. Do I think it's right things to do? No, it's the wrong thing to do. It sends the wrong message. But I don't care. I'm not consuming his message for life guidance. I have a smart enough brain to know that, this guy isn't going to have an ounce of influence over my life. And I really think a lot of other people do too. Because again, how many people in Keemstar's fan base fold do you think take his word as gospel? Because from what I see in the comments on his YouTube videos and on Twitter, they see him as much of a clown as anyone else does. So why are we making a 45-minute video about him again? I don't know. I've made a video long enough about him, and I haven't made a video about him for years on end. Because I know that all this is going to do is bring him attention. Guys, Keemstar's not going anywhere. He's not. He's going to keep making videos. He's going to keep raking in views. And he's going to keep being a juggernaut because people love a freak show. That's the bottom line. And until people stop watching car crashes burn, that'll be the day that a guy like Keemstar doesn't thrive on this website. So anyways, awesome use of 45 minutes yesterday, Ethan. Thanks a lot. That is all.